well, no doubt, the speeches are wonderful. But I think the learning part is right here, is the evaluation. And so I would love to call the first person, GiGi, to come up and talk about your evaluation.
Yes.
Yeah, for TED.
I don't know if Ted knows this, but my favorite food is actually chicken tenders. I eat it when I am stressed out, but I also eat it when I celebrate. And well, there's a difference between the McDonald's chicken tender and then my favorite restaurant's chicken tender. And you and your speech today, Ted, is like my favorite restaurant's chicken tender. It has all the spices and the flavor, which just makes it yummy. Now, you started with a title, which is like the batter for the chicken. Mine needs to be crispy and tasty. And your title was so creative. I actually was curious about your speech when you told me about your title, and I was sanguine enough to know that I am going to have fun with this speech. Now, your chicken is the body of your speech. That is actually your goal, which is to present a very structured speech. Because if it's not structured, it's not easy for me to understand. I won't have fun. I won't eat your chicken. But did you do that? Let me tell you. First of all, you explained the title, Winner, Winner, Chicken Dinner, which is so new to me. And you said that it's in Las Vegas, $3 chicken, you win a blackjack. Go get your chicken. I got it. And then you told us your 3 strategies. And you told us your 3 strategies during your intro, the body, and then the end, which helps me to remember what you want me to understand. You obviously understand the power of 3. I don't know if you know that. You only have 7 minutes to do your speech. Don't give us so many information. Try the power of 3, and you did that. First of all, you told us the 3 main strategies. Find the right table, playing the game. Finding the right table, playing the game, and leaving the table. Great. The fact that me, who does not gamble, can actually understand that, Ted, it's a great thing. But what's special about your speech is you presented us the 3 main points, and then you supported each of your main points with sub-points, which truly emphasized and supported what you wanted us to understand. Like, for example, finding the right table. You told us about number 1, rules are clearly in the table. You talk about that. But then finding the right, I could not read my notes, finding the right waiter or the right
dealer.
Dealer, okay. I was really honest when I said I don't understand about blackjack. Finding the right dealer and then finding the positive players. My goodness, it just flows. You transition from one point to another very smoothly. Now, if you want this speech to be so much better, and it actually is, actually from being great to awesome, maybe just a little bit of visual items. Bring the cards. I don't really know what 5 hands in a row. I don't even know what's a winning card. So maybe just that will just give it an extra spice. But you already have the spices down, additional spices. Sense of humor, Asian woman, dealer with no mustache. Yes, that cracked me up. Analogy, it's like fishing. You have no notes. And what that tells me, Ted, is you're very prepared, you're very confident, and you can connect easier when you're prepared and confident. Closing, it's like the sauce for my chicken tender, my favorite teriyaki sauce. Yours was short to the point, and you tie it all together back to the chicken dinner. You look at me in the eye and you said, don't be greedy, cash in your chips, and go and get your dinner. So just like my favorite dinner, Ted, I can't get enough. I wanted more. Oh, thank you.
That was a lot of feedback, and I did appreciate Ted's speech because I do like to gamble, and sometimes I don't stop when I'm supposed to. So it was good to hear that. Just as a reminder, when the evaluators come up here, we get 2 to 3 minutes, and once again we have the 10 cards, and so once it's green, you're good. Once it's red, you get a 30-second grace period. So just keep that in mind, okay? Can I go ahead and bring up Wayne to evaluate Francis?
ToastMasters, I think you did a wonderful job with your speech, telling us who you are. When you have the title like that, you can really go in any direction. You can go in your interests, you can go into your job or your hobbies, whatever you did. And so with what you chose, it was great to hear about your experiences. Once again, every time you're up here, you always have great information, and it's very fun to listen to for me. And I always keep that sanguine attitude to make sure that I'll get to learn something from you, because you obviously have a lot to share with everybody. The purpose of your speech, or the assignment really, was vocal variety. Changing your voice up to show more enthusiasm, or portraying emotion, or anything along those lines. And I think you did a great job with that. You always have different vocal variations in all your speeches. And so when you talk about a certain thing, you were always more enthusiastic. I was able to tell that in your speech. Which job you talked about, I was like, oh, she obviously loved that one a little bit more than maybe this other one. And so that was wonderful. You had great pauses where you needed them, and in certain areas you you had really good pauses. And when you did pause, it just gave us a chance to ingest what you just said and let us think a little bit on what you just talked about. Some things in which I find you could have improved on, to really put more emphasis on certain words when you're more enthusiastic about it, like when you talked about how you always enjoyed something, instead of just saying, well, I always enjoyed this, you can be like, well, I always enjoy doing this, or I always enjoy doing that. And that would have really shown more enthusiasm than you already showed with your speech. And another thing that you could have improved on, you always use the stage, first of all, and so that's really great. But I think in this particular speech, when you talked about each different company, you could have moved into a new spot. So for us to follow you visually, it's like, okay, now she's moving to a new idea, so she's standing in a new spot, or talking about a new job, she moved into a new spot. So as we're following you visually, our minds can also kind of catch up and say, okay, now this is a new idea, but still encapsulating everything you're talking about. And then finally, that's, like I said before, you have a great speaking voice, and I can always hear you clearly, but as people have noticed, I always sit in front. And so I heard you nice and clear, when you, your enunciation was very clear for me. I just want to make sure that you're careful of that, to make sure that they can hear you in the back just as clearly as I can hear you up front. So I never sit in the back when you speak, so I really don't know what that's like, but just to ensure that they can hear you in the back just as clearly as I can in front. And other than that, I think you did a great job on this speech, and